Did y'all know that sperm is washed in the process of IUI, but it's not what you think? Stick around, because in this video, I'm gonna walk you guys through each step of the IUI process when trying to get pregnant and tell you guys about our journey so you can have an idea of what to expect. And y'all, we did this 3 times, so I think we know what we're saying. Whew, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, we're the Giovanonis, and if you know me, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. We busy out here, so I gotta get this laundry done. But let's get right into this video. Last week, we talked about our infertility journey, and I gave y'all a bunch of tips, hacks, all that jazz to get y'all to start your infertility journey the right way. We also got into all the tests and procedures that your doctor might run on you guys based on your infertility diagnosis. And for us, we had unexplained infertility, and that's what brought us to IUI. Let's talk about it. So after being diagnosed with unexplained infertility, our reproductive endocrinologist ordered a round of IUI for us. If you recall, that's intrauterine insemination. Not to get confused with IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. IUI is a fertility procedure where the sperm is placed directly into the woman's uterus. When you compare that to natural intercourse, you know the sperm has to go through so much more channels. It gets deposited in the vagina and then has to make its way to the cervix and then to the uterus. So by that point, so many are dying off, and that's why IUI is considered like giving you more of a higher chance of getting pregnant than natural intercourse. Whereas we talked about IVF in the last video, all that fertilization and stuff, that's happening outside of the body in a lab. And with these differences, you can see why IUI would be more of a choice than natural conception when you've been trying for so long. Versus as well as IVF, which is more costly than IUI. IUI is more costly than natural conception, but gives you a higher chance. But it is cheaper than IVF. Now, in a nutshell, let's talk about what happens with the IUI procedure and what you can expect. We'll call this the prep stage. Your doctor is going to prescribe you medication that's going to help stimulate your ovaries to produce more eggs than normal. Now, there's all types of medications. There's like an injection form, there's pill forms. In my case, depending on your case as well, you're either going to get a combination of the pills in the injection or just pills or just the injection. I did do a round of an injection and pill form, but for the most part, I remember the pill form, and that was letrozole. There's 2 different pills, letrozole or Clomid. And with both Clomid and letrozole, you take those pills in a series of days, depending on what your doctor's going to tell you. I believe mine was 5 days. And during that time, those pills are pretty much working their magic. Your ovaries are producing eggs, hopefully. I'm gonna give y'all the exact numbers of how many eggs I made with each cycle of IUI on that medication. Before I give you guys the numbers, you need to understand the follicles, okay? They are not necessarily the egg itself. They're the house for the egg, if you will. So throughout the whole preparation stage where they're giving you this medication to boost your ovaries, you're gonna get testing every few days so they can count the follicles. In the beginning, I used to think, oh, look how many eggs I'm making. But no, it's look how many follicles I'm making. So I would start off with like 14, always in the teens. You'll always start high, but that doesn't necessarily mean all of those are eggs. They're just sacs that can house an egg, and they might not have anything in there. So that's why the doctor is tracking it those every few days, because they're seeing it. If it grows, you can assume that there's an egg in there. When they get to a certain size, that's when the doctor's going to tell you like, okay, you have this many eggs, not follicles. Changes to eggs now. First round was 3, which is good, right? Like the higher number of eggs, the better. Well, it depends how you see it, but we wanted a baby, so it's a good thing. The second round was 3 as well. And then the 4th round, we have 4. Now, let's move on to the next stage, the timing stage. This part is so important for the doctors. Like, they got to time this right, okay? And the way we found out later how our doctor was not timing this shit right, I'm telling you, our story is crazy. But that's another video for another time. So when the eggs are ready and they go by their size, before they mature, doctors don't want your eggs to mature yet. So they got to trigger them at the right time. And triggering is when they give you a shot. It has HCG in it. This is why you don't test for pregnancy when you take that trigger shot, because it'll show positive. So it has that hormone in it, and they make you trigger at home. Sometimes they let you come to the office, but we got ours sent in the mail. I did my own. I think I have a picture. Okay, this is a bummer because I can't find my Sharps container that actually has all the trigger shots and all that. But I did find this. Yo, when I tell you, you're gonna have like your own little like nurse station kit of like shots and everything when you go through infertility and IVF and all that stuff. No joke. Example trigger shot. It's bigger than this, but we'll use this needle for example. So my doctor will send it through the mail. It has the medication in it already. And what it does essentially is it triggers those eggs that came from the follicles to release. You'll end up getting that call from the nurse or your doctor telling you, okay, the eggs look about ready at such and such time tonight. Take your trigger shot, poke it in your little belly, and that'll essentially start the process of getting those eggs to release. Now let's get into the sperm collection phase. Your trigger shot is going to be done about like 34 to 36 hours before your IUI procedure. So once you get into the clinic, your partner is going to have to give a sperm sample. And that's usually done like an hour before your IUI procedure, the female. Once that sperm is in the lab, they're going to wash it to separate the healthiest sperm. And I don't know about y'all, but I think the process of washing the sperm is so cool. It's called centrifugation. And they put it in a centrifuge and pretty much spins it at like a really, really high speed. This process separates the sperm from its seminal fluid, and it gets rid of like immature and dead sperm and debris. Once that process is done, the sperm is mixed with this like special solution, and that pretty much isolates the healthy motile sperm. Now you got the most healthiest and active sperm concentrated into a small volume to be used for IUI. If you couldn't tell already, this process ensures that only the best sperm are ready to meet the egg, increasing your chances for a successful fertilization. Now the prepared sperm is inserted directly into the uterus, and it goes through this thin, flexible tube called a catheter. And y'all, the IUI procedure is relatively painless. It's painless and it just takes like a few minutes. After the procedure, there's this 2-week waiting period before you can even take a pregnancy test. Because remember I told y'all, the trigger shot has HCG in it. So like if you test right away, you're gonna see it positive because of that hormone that's in that shot. So you gotta wait that 2 weeks. But if anybody who's been through this infertility thing, y'all know, we call this the dreaded 2-week wait. We wanna test so badly and so quickly because like we want a kid, we're excited, we're anxious. Here's what I did. I started testing the day I got my trigger shot, but let me tell you why. It's called line progression. So the day I tested for the trigger shot, it'll be a dark line on the pregnancy test because it's full of that hormone, right? And then every few days or so after, I'll keep testing with the pregnancy test, and you can see when the line gets lighter and lighter, meaning the trigger is leaving your body. Once you see the line keep getting lighter and lighter, you'll know the trigger is out your system. At one point, I pretty much had like no line. And then you start testing again, and if you see a line keep getting darker and darker, most likely you're pregnant. Because remember, you started with a dark line progression, got lighter, trigger system is out your body, then you started off the testing again and you see the line getting darker and darker, most likely you're pregnant. Line progression, y'all, there's a little hack for y'all. I got my little hacks. But listen, if you got willpower, which I did not, and you can wait the 2-week wait, do it. It's less stressful, I hear. So at the end of the day, you're either gonna get a negative or positive pregnancy test. And I knew very early on that mine was going to be negative because I did that line progression. But if it is negative, your doctor's gonna discuss the next steps with you and give you possible adjustments for future cycles. So I told you in the beginning, we did this 3 times. So 3 cycles of IUI, and none of them were successful. We did do some adjustments, and one big one being, I told my doctor that I didn't want him starting off one of the cycles with birth control as he was doing. And that's a whole nother story because we ended up firing him. And y'all stay tuned. That is all I got for y'all today. I hope the step-by-step process gave y'all some valuable insights into the IUI process. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, list them down below. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button because next video is coming out soon and it's a doozy.